Good morning, YouTubers. It is 7:20ish. J-Hub's got the door early today. I can't speak. Blah, blah, blah. J-Hub's got out the door earlier today because he had work to do at school. Our internet was out last night. Gotta wait on the cable guy to show up today. Fun. You know, between 10 and 12 will turn into like between 3 p.m. and 8 at night. Apparently some guy was here yesterday working on someone else's cable because in this neighborhood they have wiring that's overhead, if you can see behind me. Way back there. See if I can see it. Maybe not. Get your hand out of the way, Jennifer. Oh, it looks foggy. That's ugly. Anyway, there's the overhead wiring. It runs back there to a pole, and apparently it's shared. The cable wiring is shared between the houses in the corner there. And whoever was here working on the pole apparently kept dropping his screwdriver, so hubby kept having to go fetch it for him. And apparently in doing that, he somehow disconnected our internet and cable. So we had neither one. Thanks to this phone that I am filming on right now, it has a hotspot on it. I'm not going to start a debate, but I'm an Android girl all day. Love the Galaxies. This is not a Galaxy. I'm currently using an LG K7. It was one of those you get at one of the buy here, sell here type cell phone places. I'm a big fan of those. I never pay full price for phones. I don't need the newest of the new, so a little tip for you. Go to one of those stores that does cell repair. They usually sell cell phones, new ones, old ones. People come in, they want an upgrade, they want to get cash for it so they can put it towards that brand new one. And you can get the same model that you wanted pretty much for half price. And then they make sure they run the diagnostics. They give you a little warranty, a few months, and everything's good to go. So I'm quite pleased with this LG K7. Even though I've never been anything but a Samsung girl, I'm definitely not an Apple fan. I have no problem with y'all who are Apple fans. I just don't believe in getting anything that makes me sign contracts, only be able to use certain cell phone companies, only be able to go there to their places to get accessories for my phone. I can go to the dollar store with Android phones, and especially Samsungs, and get a charger all day for $1. If I leave one somewhere for the car, for the wall, any of the little micro ports that charge. Microwave's telling me that my very cold breakfast I'm reheating now is done. It's going to be cold again because I'm doing this. Anyway, yeah, so that's just my little theory there. So this phone had a hotspot. Hubs tried it last night on his iPhone, which I believe is the S6 Plus or some stuff. I'm not familiar with Apple stuff, but yeah, neither his phone nor his Apple laptop, he calls it, not a tablet. Neither one of them have hotspots. I've never had to use a hotspot on my phone, and I'm on Metro PCS, which is also, I believe, affiliated with Cricket Wireless. I don't know. I like having a fixed plan, no contract. I don't have to worry about hidden fees. I get the same bill every month, y'all. It's lovely. Hubs, not so much. Very expensive for that Apple stuff to run on a different network. We'll be changing that up shortly. But anyway, moving on. Today I'm going to talk about worms. I did not get to film last night when we were moving from... Sorry, I got little Jay Sparkles. Hey, you. Running around outside here. He's my little sidekick today. I'm letting him run loose. Normally the boys are crated like Mr. Romeo right here. Romeo. Romy. Look. Knucklehead. He's hiding. Got a lot of stuff sitting on his crate at the moment. Oh, see you. He decided he didn't want to come back in last night and made me chase him through a dark yard filled with dog poop. I was not thrilled. So I'm going to show you my worm bin really quickly and what I have set up here. You can make a small worm box for composting. Use the worm tea, which I explained in another video of mine. And you can go ahead and put that, I'll explain it again in this video. Use that liquid that drips out of your worm bin or box or whatever it is you've got them contained in. You can make it as big as you like, as small as you like. You can do it outside in a pile even. It's harder to get the tea, I would imagine, though, if you don't have a way to capture that liquid without it going in the ground. Anyway, the tea, pour it in your plants, super fertilizer, okay? And basically worms eat rotting food, not meats, not dairy. Don't put fatty stuff in the box. Vegetables, fruits, moldy bread. Look at this, y'all. Is that not disgusting? Sorry, my flash is eating it up. But there is the bluest of blue bread in there. That used to be, I kid you not, brown. Okay, it's very blue now. The reason being it's growing mold like a science project up in that piece. But I don't throw the old bread out. It can be used moldy as it is, throw a slice in there or two every week, and little guys will eat it up. I did lose a lot of my worms through not keeping up with them. That got a little damp in there because I was trying to keep it too damp for the ants to not keep going in there and making homes, which is also bad for your worms. But these were black ants. They couldn't really hurt the worms, but they were a nuisance, and I could not move the box inside during the cold weather here, which you need to do, at least to your garage. Maybe insulate it with some towels. I couldn't do that this year because the ants were still there and I didn't want to bring them in the house. So basically, here is my worm box to explain. I bought a cheapy container from Walmart. It's sitting on top of a dog crate at the moment. Sorry, I haven't relocated it because I need to work on it a little today. So this is just your basic little storage bin, and it came with its own white lid, which I put lots of holes in. These are you have to have lots of air holes. So this is aeration holes. These were made with a soldering iron. You can get them even at the dollar store, I believe. I've seen some. Anyway, a little hot pointed tip. Just barely touch it, melts the plastic, makes perfect holes. And don't make them too big because worms sometimes want to explore. They'll climb out if they think it's too wet or too dry. They try to find a better spot. They will climb out, and they can fit through holes you would not believe. So if you can see these up close, they are like pinholes, but there's zillions of them. I did the same thing on the lid for the inside container. And these are 2 shoebox size containers that we got at Walmart right here. There's 3 of them actually. I'm sorry, I take that back. And I'll show you what I've done. Let me see if the worms are still up here at all. Nope, the little guys have run down. This morning they were in here. So basically that's a piece of moldy bread. You can see the carrots from a video when I was cooking. I said I was going to keep them from the worm bin. Eggshells. Black stuff down there is coffee grounds. This is that coconut fiber that you put in your plant baskets on the walls, like the side walls of your porch or your patio or houses. I found it at a dollar store. Very cheap. It's not so cheap when you go to Walmart or Home Depot or those kind of places, your garden stores. Sorry, I turned the light off in my kitchen. Brilliant, girl. Coffee filter right in there with the coffee grounds. You don't want to put a crazy amount of food. I do have a lot in here. The bottom layer, you can see it's all been broken down already by the worms. And there's newspaper, shredded paper. Basically any like newspaper, shred it up in a shredder or just tear it up in strips and throw it in there. They eat that. Basically, the worms are going to eat all this stuff. Yes, your fingers will get dirty. Your worms are going to eat all that yucky stuff that you were going to throw out anyway. Bad fruit can go in there. Just be careful about citrus. Not too much citrus. It raises the acid level in there. Not good. You don't want your box getting too moist. You don't want it to get dry. You want it to stay humid. So basically, here's my soil level. And you can see there's a worm right there. I can't see because I just blinded myself with the flash. Let me see if this one may or may not be alive, and I will explain that. Basically, and these boxes do get gnats. I don't know if you can see there's a couple gnats in there because they like to come to this nice moist stuff. Anyway, last night when I opened up a new container of worms from Walmart, I start out, they come in the the refrigerator section of like your Walmart, Super Walmarts. You'll find them back in the bait section, fishing gear, that kind of thing. The poor guys are freezing their asses off at like 30-something degrees, so they will be in a little cup, balled up in a ball inside of this black dirt they've shipped them in. They don't give them any food. The dirt is not that moist, so these guys are struggling. I bought them. I let them get to room temperature so they could get nice and wiggly again. They're really lethargic when they're cold. It's not good for them. And trying to make sure Sparky didn't run off because that'd be a whole nother video. So anyway, basically I dumped all those guys up top here. Now what I can say I'm happy about is I don't currently see any of them here. This is where I dumped them last night, right here, right there. I don't see any more up here. That tells me all of them worked their way, and even though you see all this crud in this box, all that food, they have worked their way, and there's air holes on the side as well. They've worked their way through here. Now, see these nice big holes? It doesn't let the food fall through, and there's lots of different bin designs. I just decided to go with this because it's simple and easy for me, and we're going to make this a huge set of bins and actually get into serious worm farming when we move. Or at least when it gets warmer, we'll do something out here in Hub's yard. We don't want it in the house too much. So small for the air holes. Sorry, air holes, I can't speak. Very big for the ones on the bottom, so they can go up and down. They basically, in my box, live on the second level. That little guy right there, I believe, is a casualty because it's not moving. It did make it down, obviously, but it happens. This is the first time I've bought a container of them at Walmart, and I did check them. For the most part, they're in a tight, knotted ball. Stop doing that. And they were sluggish, but again, they're cold. So once they were room temperature, I went to put them in the box, and most of them weren't moving. I put them out on a plate, sorted through the dirt, and you want to put that dirt from that cup into your bin also, because that's rich soil that they've already become accustomed to, and sometimes they actually have little baby eggs in there, which are very hard to see until you're used to them. So they call those castings, so you can get baby worms. Just make sure that you look up what a worm castings looks like, and they're kind of like yellowish and round. You'll learn what they look like and be able to sort them out. You want to save those. Those are new worms for you. I've had lots of babies in this box. Right here I can see shininess, so here's somebody. Let me see. I'm going to just disrupt the soil. They're going to hate me, but it is what it is, guys. Let's see if I can find them. Now, this box down here does have holes in it as well. Where did you guys run off to? I mean, seriously. There's one right there. Did I get you? I got you. They don't like light. So you can see this guy is squirming. Like, get that out of my face. So the best way when you first do your box, you want it to be shaded over the dirt, but make sure that they can get down and hide. So that's one guy right there. There's about 40 of them that I put in here, so just dig carefully. I overturn my soil every now and then to aerate it. This morning I saw about 40 of them digging around eating, so there they are. I know what you guys did. All right, I'll show you another thing that I've done with my box. Sorry about the lighting. I'm having to do this in the kitchen at not the most opportune time. Check my lens. Sorry, guys. 1 second. All right. Wow, genius. That's probably what it was, a dirty lens. All right, so this box is my second layer, and it's got all the dirt. So basically, they can come up through those big holes I showed you earlier. And you can see over there, there's some other little wildlife living in here. That looks to be a little baby slug. See the little antenna sticking off. I don't mind. It's good. Okay, so I'm going to pull my second shoebox level out, which is the one the worms are in. You can see them here. Some of them are not really running too much, but you can see them moving a little there in the dirt. This is my third level, and this is what I'm glad about. It also has holes in it. These holes in the second level are to run to that third box down there. Now, I know it looks nasty, but you don't need it to be pretty. That third level, I had this box sitting, and if you look at the edges, there's little bumpers. So these can nest, which basically means they layer without dropping all the way down. That gives you a little layer down here between the two to collect your worm tea. Now, I found out quickly, some worms are dumb. They will go down to that bottom layer, and if there's too much liquid, they will drown because they don't quickly find their way out. So what I did is take that second layer out, put a little wood block, anything that's sturdy in there in the middle to make something for this to sit on. I don't have the block with me here, so here's my other compromise to collect that worm tea, which looks like mucky liquid. I will show you guys later in the video. So this bin on the outside, the big one here, bottom, has no holes whatsoever. I'm going to flip my bottom layer over. Now it is my stand. The second layer, that is the penthouse suite with all of the wormlies in there. Sorry guys, I'm gonna shake your dirt back over you. Basically the worms eat all this crud here. They move back down into this layer. The way my box is set up, they go back down to their apartment and they're gonna poop. And it sounds gross, but that is what compost is, worm poop. It's thick, rich soil. Look at this guy here. Where do you think you're going? Oh, and look at this. Oh, we've got lots of creepy crawlies. This is why you don't want it in your house. Get out of there. That's a little pincher bug. Doesn't hurt the worms, but it's still, there's another creepy crawly. Lots of creepy crawlies, as you can see, which is exactly why this box is outside on the patio, outside. Isn't that right, Sparks? He's on guard duty. He's a yapper, so he'll let me know if he sees anything or hears anything. And Romeo's right below me, so I can just open the gates of hell and let him out should I have any issues. Then I gotta chase him, and that'll be another video. Anyway, so third level, you remember the top one? That's my food level. Big holes here. Second layer with the dirt, big holes as well. so they can go down. But now that I've stacked it on that second box to give myself room for that worm tea to collect down there in that bottom bin, it can pretty much fill in worm tea. Now, mind you, I pour it into glass jars. I save my pickle jars, tomato sauce jars, anything. The worm tea can pretty much fill all the way to here now. And that's a lot of tea, by the way. I don't ever let it get that high. I usually take it and dump it in jars when it's down here, just so the worms don't get out and drown. And then basically I can collect all the way to here because I've stacked that, I've overturned that bottom layer, that container. So now the second one is sitting much higher, but in doing that, I've covered up these holes. They're now blocked by the bottom container, which is a plus because it keeps the little guys from coming through and ending up in the worm tea for the most part. They can squeeze through little spaces, so when I stack this food up, you can see there's not much gap at all the way these are stacked. They can get through there. They can even get through these little side holes for the babies especially. So every now and then, make sure you go to the bottom, check any liquid that you have, see if there's any worms struggling, and save the little guys, get them out of there, because those are what are going to give you your money. Money making, neighbors out. Money making, sell worms. People use them for fishing. People want them to start their own compost piles and boxes. 2, or for feeding their reptiles. I'm currently using, we went with red worms. They were about $3.57 for a container with 30 something at Walmart. They say 30, but I think I had like 38 by the time I counted. They have night crawlers as well at Walmart. You can go to any bait shop as well. They usually have night crawlers, red worms. There's some other worms you can use. I'll put a list at the end of the video that shows different types of worms that you can use, but those 2 are easy to find anywhere here. We tried to look in the woods for some around here. It's so damp. I think we found 1 or 2. It's not as easy as we thought it would be, but whatever. It's quick and easy to buy them at Walmart. They've come from a professional farm, so we know they've been raised the right way. Sorry about the sniffling. Allergy medicine is not in the system yet. Last but not least, basically I have lots of aeration. You do want mold growing on your food. They like it. That moldy bread, that's like a delicacy of lobster and steak to them right now, with creme brulee on the side. It's nasty to us. And honestly, this bin does not smell. If anything, it may get, like, when it's moist and humid and nasty, which it always is here in Florida especially, and the box is moist. The worst I ever get is maybe the smell of, like, fruit when it starts to maybe be overripe, and you can really smell that fruity smell, syrupy sweet smell, but it doesn't ever get, like, nasty rancid. So don't put meat, don't put greasy stuff, don't put anything dairy in there, because those things break down the fattiness. It will make your box rank, and it's not good for your worms. Eggshells, those are good for the calcium. Banana peels, I do have some in there, but they've already broken down, so you can't even identify them. Excuse me. And basically every couple months, or it depends on how big your box is, how small it is, how active your worms are, keep an eye on your food. You don't need to keep dumping food in there. If you see it's not going down, I have a lot in there right now. I'm not going to put food in there, I can tell you, for another 6 weeks at least, because these guys are not going to go through it that quickly. They eat some, they go down, they sleep, they poop, they do their thing. Basically that thick, rich black soil, which a lot of this in my second layer is already compost. These dirt balls like this a lot of times will be the composted soil. I kind of mixed in some new soil with it last night to dry it up a little bit because my soil was damp that was in there. So basically, there's my moldy bread. Pardon my outlet because I got to do a little paintage around there before I put that on. Anyway, there's some moldy bread. That's going to be for these guys. Banana peels. I talked about fruit peels from your apples, potatoes, carrots, anything like that that you're peeling. Your veggies go bad, your lettuce and stuff like that, throw it in there. They like it. So basically, worm composting, quick and easy. Sell your worms. Reptile people, fishermen, people wanting to start their own worm projects. The second thing, sell your compost. That rich soil, you can bag it up nicely and look for your local farmer's market, pull up a booth, do an internet page, or, put it on Craigslist, Facebook, blah, blah, whatever you want to put it on. And you'll be able to sell your composted dirt, either in small amounts or large amounts if you do some large scale worm farming. It's that rich black soil. Just make sure you get your castings out first. So you want to sift it somehow, and there's videos on how to do that online. Look it up. And the third thing you can do, 3D spittle, did y'all see that? The third thing you can do is that worm tea, the liquid that goes down here. And basically you can get that by once or twice a week, depending. You don't want your bin to get too wet, but you don't want it dry ever. You don't, I mean, not super dry. So basically I take a little sprinkling can like you water little houseplants with, and I just drizzle water over the top of this every couple days. And then that will literally run from this top layer down to the middle, or sometimes I'll just look at their soil and sprinkle it there and skip the food if the food already looks like it's still pretty damp. And then that'll run from this box, because of those holes, to that box, and then it will run out of these side holes. Now I did cover the bottom ones so it can't flow freely through that second box. Sorry, one hand. Those holes usually let that drip out. I can put another block between the two, but I explained I don't want my worms escaping and drowning. So it will trickle out through these lower holes, because I've made some all the way down on the corners here. So that fluid will trickle out, go down the sides, end up down there in the depths, way down there. And that's where I will get my worm tea out. Excuse me, Sparks. And I will use that to water plants with as a super fertilizer. You can sell it. Basically, you can jar it in bigger jars like this. I just saved a regular pickle jar. Or you can do smaller jars, baby food jars. It's very concentrated, so worm tea can be diluted, and there's ratios online of how to mix that as well. So we'll do further detailed videos later. This is just an introduction to my box and our setup, and we'll probably do the next video when we upgrade, level up, and make the box a little bigger. So please like and subscribe. Hope this was helpful to you. For those of you who didn't have a clue what the is she talking about, are we milking worms like dairy cows, like they're lined up and you gotta get the little udder thing? No, it's just worm tea, people. When that water trickles through the top, it basically goes through the soil. It makes this brownish, yucky looking water. Now that does smell funky, so jar it up with a lid. Keep it somewhere where you don't get it everywhere. But anyway, that's the basics on that. So please like and subscribe, those of you who are watching. Really appreciate it. And got anything to add, Sparks? No? Nothing? Quiet this morning. I don't know what to say. So anyway, stay tuned at the end of the video. I'm going to put some information in about worm bins and about the most common worms that people use to be successful with worm farming.